Guys, everybody, thanks everybody for coming. Second time, we have Rodrigo. We want to welcome today. Thanks for the guys, I've been saying that for a while now, it's been a couple months. Thanks for the guys giving a short notice. I really appreciate it. We really do. We'll have some, so nobody from outside, all have Eric, he's in Taylor. I always say Tyler, but Taylor. We have a lot of guys, Troy came from Bastrop, from Alex's Academy. And then we have a big visitor. Paul, come on in, man. Come on this side, please. Paul Ferrante, he's been with me since even before I moved to. When I live in Canada, I used to visit this guy. He's in Rochester, New York. Who else from outside today? Well, look at that guy. Will, did you know about that?
This morning I found out.
Why are you there?
I saw my friend Sebi. I didn't.
Why you guys are there? Please. I don't have time for this. Please get in a place in line, guys. So Paul came with Ken. Ken, he's So thanks everybody. So honored to have Comprido here with us. Any day now, guys. Come on, just don't need to be pretty. Just get in line. Okay, so we go long ways out. Appreciate everybody for coming. So I'm gonna pass it over for him, and then we start right over. Okay, so let's go.
Guys, always a pleasure to be here. Be at Esfiha's Academy. He's my long-term friend. I can tell that he's my childhood friend. We went for so much stuff together. We trained so much together. Yesterday, I had the pleasure or the displeasure to train with him.
We rode for 35 minutes last night. It was
good,
Some of the guys were here for open man, yeah.
But it's a pleasure to be with him and to see the work he has done with you guys, and then see you guys as an extension of what we started many years ago. You guys represent us. When you represent him, you represent me as well. We are all part of the same team, and anytime you guys are around Chicago, please stop by and check me out. Okay? So no longer ado, let's bow and start this.
Yeah, guys, about this, real quick, we try to build the team back up, Brasa. Comprido today is our president, so we have a lot of little things we're trying to fix, we're trying to improve. So we work as hard as we can do to make it happen, to be up on the bigger teams, all there. Comprido always does a very good job back up in Chicago for they have 2 tournaments per year now, right? Summer and
Chicago Opens per year.
Yeah. We were talking about trying to do when people want to go travel, just join the team, and if you guys want to do a competition, all that. But we'll talk about this later. So, but Master Comprido, thank you guys.
Okay, folks, let's start. Let's just warm up. What I want you guys to do, you guys can just move around. I just wanted you guys to change level and always protect your leading leg as you move a little bit. Okay, so you guys are gonna start to change level, and then you have to always protect your leading leg. So you put your arm in front of the leading leg, can be here, can be here, can be here. Okay, so then you guys gonna move backward, forward, sideways. Okay, obviously, whatever the direction you are moving, that's the leg what have to move first. So if I want to go forward, my forward leg has to go first. If I want to go sideways, the leg on the side I want to move goes first. Okay? If I want to go backward, my back leg goes first. Okay? I want you guys to get used to do this without changing levels back up. Okay? That's something you're only going to do when you're really far away from your opponent. If you're in range, you have to be in a lower level. So I want you guys to move a little bit, okay? When you change, you can change base, then you change the hand as well. You can change base walking sideways, you can change base, but always the hand follow in a squat position. Okay? Just move a little bit and then you're gonna add your stuff. Try to find a comfortable position, you know, your back kind of straight, don't lean forward. Always changing direction. Visualize the opponent in front of you. Okay, don't mind me, go back to me. Always switching bases and moving forward and backward. Okay guys, now you guys gonna do in partners. What you guys gonna do, you're gonna shoot it 3 times in a row. Okay? You can come in here. So what I want you guys to do is, once again, once you change levels, it's very important, okay? I cannot shoot somebody from here. If I'm here and then I'm gonna shoot, and I shoot high to low, I favor his sprawl. I'm almost helping him to do the sprawl. I'm pushing him in towards the sprawl. The idea is shoot bottom to the top. So I'm low when I shoot on my way up. Okay? It's gonna make a big difference. So what you guys gonna do, you guys gonna change level, gonna be in front of your training partner. And then if you just shoot, it's easier for him to figure it out. What I want you guys to do, I want you guys to fake a couple shots, and then you keep forcing him into a reaction. So sometimes you make a empty sprawl because you think you're gonna shoot. Sometimes you start to get nervous and then he can make a mistake. So you're gonna be here, so you're gonna be, you know, moving like you're gonna shoot, and then you shoot. Okay? So you're gonna do 3 in a row. And back and forth. Okay? Let's go a little bit.
Guys, real quick, like during the seminar, you know, if you can't leave, Rodrigo's going to be somewhere in between here, between that camera, you know, like going to be recording here and that camera right above Savvy. You guys can leave the path open. Just keep that in mind, you know. So, all right, go for it.
The defender don't need to be super low, but you have to always be low.
So, you're going to be great. Do like a moon for you. That's a good rate. That rate is going to be blacked out in like 2000.
The short to my favorite. That's for you, baby.
Hey, put this 5 on about 2000. You can have that. Then you can have that.
No, it's Sharif on that side. It was Sharif on that side. I was like, oh, sorry, guys. Never mind. Right, no. Yeah, a little bit. behind his knees, okay? Because look, if I'm doing this, both back. You can just put it back. Okay, you have one hand on the hip, you start hip hop. You have two hands, look.
We are from the airplane mode now.
Okay, so try to put your hands behind the knee.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, folks, really good. Just again, I want to give you a tip. Okay, when you're doing double leg, it's not that this is not okay or this is not okay. It is. Those are takedowns. But when you do a double leg, you want to really have your hands behind both of his knees to stop him to keep posting backward or hopping. Sorry, up in here. Okay. So when I have just one leg, I'm in here. He can keep hopping forever. And then maybe we go out of bounds. The referee gonna put the fight back on the center. Sometimes gonna give him a warning and maybe the advantage to me. Sometimes not even that. Okay, so you cannot waste a good shot like that. Okay, so when I have both of my hands here and I push forward, he doesn't have too much room to keep hopping, and then you finish your takedown. Once again, it's not that it's not a takedown in here or in here. It's just that if you switch for a double leg with two hands behind the knee, you can finish sooner. Okay? And you're really not going out of bounds. So I fight on the ultra heavy division, you know, and then sometimes I always have a good base for takedowns and stuff, but sometimes I'm fighting with people who are way bigger than me, and then who I don't really want to expose myself going for a hip takedown, because the guys can just put the hip forward and stop my attack. Okay, so I have this control that I like to do, and I think you guys can make a good use of that. So I'm gonna fight a bigger guy. So first of all, what I try to do is open his lapel. Okay, if his lapel is inside, I have less options to hold. It will be much harder to hold. So many times when I'm fighting, I'm here before I even try to make a grip. I go there and open his lapel. Take distance again. When I'm close to my opponent, I have to be low to change my level because I might need to shoot. If I wanted to stretch my back, I need to move away and I just stretch my back when I'm far away from him and he cannot shoot. If I stretch my back in here, now he will shoot me and I have no defense for that because my body is in an awful position. Okay, so if you are in range, you are in here. If you need to stretch your legs, stretch your back, you pull back. So what I'm doing here now is resting my legs and my back from a distance. When I approach him, I change my levels again. And I decide to go after his lapel. And I open his lapel. Now I'm going to engage. Okay, so now I decide to engage again. Control his lapel, he control my arm, he control my lapel, I control his arm. Okay? What I'm going to do now is, I'm going to force him into a stalling position. So I lower my base a little bit, I squat. Try not to lower your base. Just putting your butt backward, because you're going to be off balance. Okay, start to squat a little bit and I put your head on his head. So when this happens, there's a lot of contact. And then, especially when you go with a bigger guy, it's less motion. More contact means less motion. So I'm in here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to come to his lapel and I'm going to start to open space here. Okay? I want to hold it super low. And then I'm going to lift his lapel right below his elbow here, crossing around his tricep. Okay? This really doesn't give me much of control over his arm, but gives him the illusion that I have some control. Okay, so I'm gonna press towards his tricep here. Okay, I'm gonna lift, and I'm gonna leave a space here because I wanna come with this hand. Okay, so I'm here. I'm gonna move my hand across like that, and that's the grip I wanna do. Okay, when I do that, I cannot turn and expose my back. If I do that, he goes to my back, and then he's gonna put me on the position that I wanna put him. So once I'm here and I open his lapel, okay, so as I'm reaching, I'm twisting my chest. And then once I grab, I rotate my chest and I go for a 2-on-1. Okay, on a wrestling, you don't have the lapel, you hold 2-on-1 in here. On Jiu-Jitsu, I have the lapel. When I rotate this hand, I'm going to hit under. If he's holding here, that's fine. You're just going to start to twist his hand. Eventually, you're going to let him go. But I hit here, and I put his arm inside. Now what's important is winning this head battle. You see how the first thing Esfiha did when I beat him here is he put his head inside. Okay, because he want to get some kind of control to keep fighting. He doesn't want me to keep his arm in here. So what you do is now you put your head inside, okay, and then you start to going for his hip. You're going to be on this position. Okay, from here, I can start to coach, I can let him go in single leg. Okay, so I have this control over there, where I can keep attacking. I'm always outside. Okay, it's important to be outside. If you start to step in, he can now sit and pull guard. He can try to have some ideas. Okay, so stay outside, pressuring. Control his hip here, okay, and push a little bit, okay. Just this control gonna help out with when you go against a bigger guy. So previously you open his lapel, you engage, okay. You wanna slow down the fight, so you're looking for more contact. Okay, so I put my head on him, okay, kind of squat a little bit. Go after his elbow, and I rotate in here, head inside right away. Keep the lapel, control the hip, and you start to press inside here. Okay, you can start to attack a little bit, and eventually you have a couple more options to do. Okay, let's do this positionment a little bit back and forth. Shoot the
I don't get it.
No, don't. Always use the
Now you want to tie up with me. So I grab here, go down you just tie up. Tied up. You got this here, down there, and I reach down and grab the hold it up. You reach across,
I'm still trying to get good grip here. Yeah, I'm still trying to get this grip.
Oh, you got this grip. Yeah. That even before you start working this. And now you turn back. So now come under here.
No.
Turn. I got control. No, this arm is your headed. Now it's different here.
Yeah, I don't have good pressure on it. It was like blocking down a lot better.
Do two.
Keep your head, no. Keep your head inside of him. Okay, so you keep it here. You do this work from here. Okay, so then I never show my back to him. If I show my back, you can take my back.
Yeah, especially we get twisted up and get like that. Yeah. It's like that.
Last time you did that,
You do that, you start to put some pressure, your arms start to bend and you start to work with your wrist, you start to work with your wrist. Good, head inside.
Yeah, if I don't get my hands there, I got my motion.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, then I got, yeah, maybe, yeah.
You can get lower. You got it.
It was like snap them down to the ground.
Okay, folks, look at this thing here that some of you are getting confused. Look, first of all, I'm only gonna use the hand on the side. I'm gonna trap his arm to trap his arm. Okay, I don't gonna come with this hand here and start to do that, because what happens is I'm exposing my back. Okay, so at the end of the day, if he can see my back, he can take it. Okay, so if I start doing that, I expose my back to him. And I want to be way more careful than that. Even from here, if I'm that far, I'm starting to exposing my back, because I'm going to have to cross my arm. Okay, if I have to cross my arm from far, my back going to be exposed. So on top of that, remember, I obviously can do this with somebody smaller than me, but that's a good strategy against somebody bigger than you. So what I need to do is slow the fight down. Okay, to slow the fight down, I need more contact. So what I do, I get him in here. I put my head on his head. Okay, so I open, and it's just with this hand, outside hand here, and then I'm still fighting him. When I pull this here, for him, doesn't seem that this side is free. There is some kind of control here. He feels some pressure here. It is possible that the guy realized let my lapel go and try to attack me. It's not the end of the world. I still have his lapel with my right hand. I have my head in position, so I can defending that. But I'm not giving him an option. It's not a clear option for him. Oh, now is a good time to attack. It's not like if I'm doing this. If I do this, now he thinks, oh, it's a good time to attack. He doesn't have any control. So I give him the illusion that I have control. Then look how when I reach, I advance my left leg and I open my chest, not expose my back. Okay? And then I come in here right away. As soon as I make this grip, I keep twisting my upper body, and then I hit him with my arm. I keep doing this. If he still have this grip, that's not my problem. Okay, I'm going to keep holding, and I came with my head inside. Some of you, the defenders, are changing level and then going super low. So if you change the level and try not let, and then he start to come in super low, so you guys going to come in behind, and then going to be easy to leg pick him. Okay, so he cannot also go super low over there because you have a good control. But what I want is get my head back inside, okay, is getting to this position that I'm going to have few options. Okay? Just do a couple more times. Try to remember that it's one hand opening, and when you cross opening your chest and attack right away. Okay? And then I'm going to show one takedown that can be also a choke from this position, and then we'll move on. Okay? Just one time for each side. I like to hold my thumb and I need this space to come. If I'm too tight, if I'm in this, now I'm really exposed, and then I don't have space. So I'm going to take more time here, so I might find my back. So hold low, come in here, and then you have my back. I think it was.
Try not to go step. Whatever works.
Okay, parou, so come back in here. So let's gonna work. I use this, you know, like I said, especially with big guys. Sometimes I can do this. Here, look. I always open his lapel before I start to. You have to prepare. I always see a sparring or a training as a battle. You know, so you have to choose the field. You have to deploy your army. You have to treat your enemy to do something that's going to compromise him sooner. So I don't want to go there and then start to fighting him and see whatever happens. Okay, nobody became a successful general fighting like that, just reacting. All the people that you know the names as generals, they always had a plan. They would be able to adapt when things went south, but they always came with a plan. They always choose the field. They always turn the problems in advantages for them. If you know where your opponent is going to be next, you can set a trap for him. Okay, so when I'm thinking about that, I love these ancient battles, especially Roman and Greek times, and then the good generals, Hannibal, Caesar, Alexander, they are always tricking the people to commit mistakes. You know, even with a smaller force, even if you're not the most technical or the stronger, you can still win if you lead this guy to commit a mistake. Okay? So, when I come on this situation, what happens sometimes is I grab here, right? So, I came and I pull, and then, now letting go the lapel, there's more space. So, letting go the lapel. But I realize I have a lot of room here, I have a lot of space, I have a lot of fabric here on my hand. So I come in here, and then I start to go inside, and I kind of let him to put the head inside. Okay, I start to let him put the head inside, but what I'm doing is I'm lifting. You see how I'm pointing this part of his lapel here? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get as close to his neck as possible. So his head is inside, he's thinking, oh, now I start winning. Okay, I'm collapsing his center. So I have my head inside. So I feed the lapel. Now it's important when you go here to reach, don't take the whole thing. Okay, this part, the thick part, is far away from his neck. Now, because I rotate, when I rotate, if I'm just here, the thick part is close to his neck. But because I rotate, this part is far away from his neck. So this lean part is close to his neck. So I'm in here. What I do is I feed and I come to this lean part. You see, I'm not grabbing everything. That's very important. If you grab everything, you only have a takedown. I grab this lean part as deep as I can, Okay, and now I start to close my elbow. Here my elbow cannot be open and pull and stretch my arm. He's going to swing his head under. I have to close my elbow and I start to pulling him here. Okay, so as I do that, he has no balance. I can keep his arm and keep rotating him and get him on the floor and finish him on the floor. Okay, he doesn't have space to shoot. He doesn't have nothing. The moment I hold my wrist, most likely I'm going to have a submission. Okay? Remember, one of his arms is across my chest. It's really hard to defend. Okay? So if he's not paying good attention, and happens a lot, especially when you go with a bigger guy who is slower, who are just waiting to do maybe 3-4 takedown attempts on the whole fight, he will not try to attack you when in that compromised position. So, of course, I will not try this if I just have this bit of lapel. Okay, I'm going to be really hard to reach. So, on this case now, I'm bigger than him. So, my arm can go around and come in here. But you see what I'm grabbing? I'm grabbing the far part of the lapel. So, I will be able to generate some torque and twist his body a little bit. So I might could get him down or disengage somehow, or start to twisting and then keep attacking. But I want to do that one time to finish him. Okay, or to at least get him down and land on the side control, being in a very, very good position. So once again, I'm in here, take my time. Okay, I squat, I open up the lapel, I attack, rotate. Okay, I start to pressing, and then I feed the lapel here in front of his neck. I let him thinking he's winning when he's coming here. I keep moving outside, feed the lapel, and hold the slim part of the gi. That's something that you always, when you choke, when you go around his arm, you always after the slim part. Okay? So now you start to pull and put pressure. You can enter your hand here, and you keep pulling on this direction. If you want to speed up the thing, you put your foot there, and you can finish front across choking here. Okay? Let's try. What did you do? You have a little lapel, so this is very hard. You can do this standing and have a lot of lapel. You don't need it.
Yeah, no.
The first way where you
Keep twisting him, keep opening his chest.
you're doing this. This way. Like this.
Now try and lift that next week.
See if I got a better way to set up on this.
Yeah, a little finish. Okay, gotcha.
They were coming around the other side of the arm. Stay under my elbow. Yeah, sorry. Grab your own wrist. So it's like, Hajime. You were here. So it's the same concept. Right. I'm grabbing the wrist instead and using the fork. the color's different, but it's that same kind of behind, yeah. But it has to be below the elbow. Yeah. Otherwise, I slide the arm out and I can rotate into it, right? Okay, so it's got to go underneath the elbow. Yeah, so let's do that. Here, here. Elbow down. Double on me, kind of hate me right here. I had my elbow high, but I got pulled down.
Tap it easy. Grab the whole thing. Don't grab the whole thing. Leave this big part. Grab. You're getting the takedown fine, but you're not getting the choke.
Then we're gonna have to go on the
Yeah, so I think unrealistic to get all the way under the elbow there.
maybe every time, but I think you get. If you're looking for it, you are too much on his back. Stay close to him. Okay, so. Go through his hip. Go through his hip here. Okay. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna fit with his hand the lapel to this side, and then you're gonna come in here, and then. No, not everything. I'm gonna make this little here. No, sling part. Okay, you grab the sling part and you can go and hold your own arm. Yes. Now you can put him back. Twist him. Yes. Oh yeah. Behind the tag. Yes. See how far you are now? See how hard this is? Yeah, now it's time to tell you what you're going to do. Experimenting a little bit. I have this here, right? So I let him come inside, but then I push it up against him. Right?
And then what you did,
I circled, yeah. On this way. Yeah, I shot it around. Kind of took it out. Here, I still show.
You're not that far, man.
Oh, okay. Just experimenting. With 3 S's. Because I can't even reach across to get my own wrist. Well, so you were still. No, go in. You got his arm inside. I think it's here. The elbow. It helps. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I'm still doing that. Like,
That's harder.
okay, I'm back. Guys, you're gonna do pretty much the same thing, but you're gonna do on the floor now, okay? So, here, please.
Go, Sergio.
Look, it's exactly the same thing. And the other thing, like the jiu-jitsu, what you can do in jiu-jitsu, you can repeat the same position for a different angle. Okay, so I was standing, now I have my back on the floor. The mechanics will still working. Doesn't matter if I'm here, upside down. Doesn't matter how you put the engine, it will still work. Okay, inside the car. This is considered the fluid stuff, but the mechanics will still work. Okay, so what happened is I'm playing guard with him. Okay, even when I'm playing guard, I always try to open the gear of my opponent. Okay, so a very common attack here is you open the lapel, you make the same grip here. Now I don't have to worry so much with my back because he's on my close guard. Okay, and then I start to bring him close to attack his arm. So his normal reaction here is freak out about his arm and keep trying to open his elbow. He's not really worrying with his lapel. Once again, if he has a short gi, this is going to be much harder. But if he has a long gi, it's going to be easier. When I'm holding here, I have room to maneuver with his lapel. Okay? So what I start to do now is I bring him close and I start to hug him. Okay? At this point, his goal is always keep opening his elbow. And then I can slide my hand to the tip of the belt, the lapel, if I feel that I have enough to reach with the hand behind his head. The moment I reach here, once again, I close my elbow and I come in here. Now I can come and escape my hip a little bit if you want to start to climb in here, but you have the exactly same choke here. This part against his neck, okay, that's what I need you guys to understand. Slim part is touching his neck, I generate pressure immediately. If I go after this part here, is a gap, and I cannot generate the same amount of pressure. And once again, I can use that even to start to escape into his back. Okay? And then you start to walk towards his back with this control if you don't think you're really going to be able to choke him. Okay? You're going to have to make the decision. But it's exactly the same attack that we're doing standing. You just have to manage to trick the guy. It's not as easy as it looks, because he always tries to keep a posture. Okay? But when you start to track him, really track him with an arm bar, he doesn't want to be in a posture. So, you know, some of your actions cause some reactions. You know? And that's what I say with, when I do this analogy with the army, you know. Normally in a battle, in the ancient times, when the center collapsed, when the center started to go backwards, the other army commit. Okay? So you start to make him believe that something gonna happen there, and then he have a path to go to win, and then you go around him. You know, this envelopment maneuver was used by every single great general in the history. They let the center collapse, and then they come around and poof, and finish the other army. Okay? So, we are here. These are going to be easy to grab. And then that's maybe one of the reasons that I was doing this kind of stuff before I started doing standing. Okay? And then that's the thing. When you realize that what you learn on the floor can be used standing, and what you learn on the half guard can be used on the mount, and what you learn on the mount can be used on the half guard, so you start to have more tools to attack. So when I open, I always have this. This is something that I do since I'm a blue belt. But I was not really using that standing. Okay? Because seems weird. Once you find a way to get the guy on this situation, that starts to make it a little bit easier. So, if I just do that, he keep posturing up. Once I start to really climbing, now he start to thinking, oh, I might have to go low. Because if I allow this guy to pass the leg, I'm done. So one of the reactions to defend the armbar is going low. Now I hold his armpit and bring him to me. Okay? And then I can hold with my right hand the thick part of his lapel, and I keep pulling in front of his chest and keep bringing his head as high as I can on my chest. Okay? I'm pulling him with my legs and my hand. Okay? So once I control, I close my elbow and I put my hand behind. I keep start to pressuring and get the same torque that I had. Now I can start to climb and then maybe put the guy in here. You know, maybe just finishing him up off here. Okay? Maybe even after I attack here, he tried to posture up. I'm still have his arm in here. And then I can go back and attack his arm. You should not switch a choke for an armbar, but in certain cases you know that you don't have the choke anymore and the arm is in there. So I'm not giving up the arm yet. The arm is on my chest. I have the same kind of 2-on-1 grip. Would be more 1-on-1. 1-on-1. And if the choke doesn't work, I'm still having the option to try the armbar. Okay? Does that make sense for everybody? Okay, you guys can try if you have questions.
Guys, listen, real quick, just as far as the seminar goes, you don't have to stand up and move around, but my advice to you guys, I see some guys like, the mats are busy, right? If it's facing that way, if you're sitting here, you can't come across, see what he's doing over his back. So get up, walk around, because we don't have time. I mean, he can't move every angle, so you guys got to follow to get a better view, okay? Make the best out of it. So, okay. You're like right there. Some of the guys are behind us. I know they are, but I know. I want to bring you down.
Don't go straight for the neck. Spend some time there. You have to give him the sensation that you are attacking his arm. It makes obvious that you are attacking his neck. It's easier for him to defend. Let him worry with the armbar. And if he's not defending the armbar, then attack him.
Agora eu não lembrei. Porque eu vi que o menino agora tem minha pergunta. Quanto está segurando minha própria gola.
Você está segurando sua própria gola.
Mas eu estava segurando para você não passar.
Então, mas eu estava querendo ver se tu soltava. Eu te enganando. E naquela hora eu tinha soltado já.
Pois é, mas eu lembro.
Aí eu falei, de repente, o que acontece? Às vezes o cara faz isso e solta. Aí a gola cai aqui na minha frente.
Aí você vai.
Aí eu vou e jogo pra cá.
Na verdade eu tava pensando essa parte
Porque no começo tinha pressão no teu braço. Aí tu segurou pra aliviar a pressão. Você jogou pra aliviar a pressão. Aí eu falei, ó, tá segurando tua própria gola. Eu não tô, tipo assim, eu não tô mais atacando.
Foi por isso que eu tava pensando. Foi por isso que eu tava tirando.
Like, I would tap that. Like, you're gonna be trying to get your elbow back. This way. Big part, big part. Don't grab this big part. Grab this little part. It's like grab the big part and then you the other thing is releasing this arm.
I got you. Dog. I got you 7 days. Right? You're getting your elbow from there. No, you don't want that elbow from push it across. Posture. That's why you posture. I'm still, man. I'm still helping. Like I got plenty of length. It's just grabbing the part versus grabbing the idea. So I'm here. Almost every time I feel like I have to create too much distance here to get it here.
Trying arm bar or whatnot, but you come in on the back. And then grab this one's getting out. Go across. And now you're coming out like that. So come in like this. Right. Just kind of like this arm, try to grab that. This is just providing a brace that stays.
Yeah, I've got a lot of dogs that work.
Or you can do a sweep. You can go to my back instead if you don't need to choke.
What's these guys, man?
But if he overcommit, then he's going to give you the back. Okay, or he's going to give you down. So he cannot just keep going in the opposite direction because he's going to open up something completely different.
At that time, all I had was my calendar.
Don't go that slow. Keep your weight on him, okay? Then he can find the extra.
That's like my pressure.
Stroke his tail and go to the back instead of getting the choke. Like, oh, I can't. Whatever I'm doing, it's not working. Before I was keeping it just first back.
When I come in here, it's flat, and then his hand is always kind of blocking. it's not this, it's this, okay? So this is really foreign to that stuff. And that, that's not easy to do, right? So if this happened, probably something like this after his arm, what would be easier actually would be easier to go to after the lapel. But many times they spend a lot of time just in here, and then from here start to get in space on the lapel. And then even from here, I make my grip in here, even with his elbow outside. Okay? So, but I have his arm here, so I can make this decision forward here. But you see, I always can come back to these again and attack the arm again. So, like now doing the technique, this seems very easy. It's not gonna happen. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Because this happens, you have so many options, But we'll be more from here, and then I like to use this also to control. So, because what you have to tell him is I want your arm for him to lower his stance. And then if he realizes that you're trying to go to his neck and then he washes up, now you can go back to the arm. You start to put the hand on.
I had the other one pretty tight.
It's 2-on-1, right?
Yeah, it's like, no, panic. I'm going to go say, I've been working there.
I was grabbing, so like I was grabbing too loose, I grabbed this here next, so this was try that.
Because I was trying to do Esfiha, and he was
Yeah.
Depois que você não pode deixar que aconteça, você sabe que é o ponto que o cara tá te engrupiu. Não, switch the grip. See how much you can
learn the move. I never took it.
See, that was like that. I felt like I feel blood loss, like I was going out. But that's why you're grabbing here. It's the same as grabbing that. You need to grab as much loose fabric as you can.
Stretch a couple seconds.
The skinny part, I'm still gonna take a shower and I'm still remembering.
That can get good thing.
No, I want you to be, that's fine. I'm gonna just show another technique that we do all the time. Then you can use this the skin part of the V and we don't. And then I can tell you can, because it's the same technique when you are on top too, like the Bravo choke, okay? So it's very common. So it's very common that we go here It's gonna open his gi completely. And then another thing is, I try when I open his gi, especially on his gut, I try to open the back of his gi, also pull these parts back, okay? So, many times, I'm fighting this guy, I sit up in here and I come in here just to open up this part as well. Because when this part is inside, this makes, this gives me less fabric in here, okay? So I pull the back as well. So, what they're gonna do now is they're gonna come under his armpit. If I just come under his armpit, you see I don't have too much. The fabric gets strapped under his armpit. So, before I do that, what I always do is I stretch the lapel under his armpit and I feed here, okay? But Esfiha is a big boy, you know, so what I do sometimes, okay, instead to just focus on the thick part, I come on the slim part because I get a few more inches here. So I'm getting here, and then I let him push it up, okay? So once he push it up, I'm on the slim part now. Another advantage of the slim part is less fabric on your hand. You don't want your hand too full of fabric because then you get tired fast. If you just have these, that's good. Okay, so it's easy to close your hand here. When you have all these, now your hand is opening. So you are burning a lot of energy just to keep something that you really don't gonna need.
He has another advantage, he can sell more geese than rich fast.
That's how they get you.
So you hug. So when you hug, normally we swing and you give this thick part to the hand. Is not necessary. You can go on the slim part, especially when the guy has a short gi. Okay, he push it up. Once he push it up, now I come in here. My wrist bone is already touching his neck. Okay, my thumb here behind his neck. So now I'm gonna wait and see what's gonna happen. Sometimes he put the hand on my elbow. Sometimes he start to put the Sometimes he put the hand on my elbow, so I cross in here. And then I start to probably choke him in here. Sometimes he doesn't fall for that, so I have to escape to this side. And once again, I come after this lean part again. You see how it's easy? When I grab in here, the gi gonna move, but here gonna have a super strong grip. It's common that you see people try to make a grip in here, and then it's the thick part. They try to grab in here, and that's a little bit tough, especially when I'm in here. So now my hands are too far apart. I get in here, and then I can even keep working on the same side. And then sooner or later I switch, because this gives me a lot of more room to movement. Okay? So, yeah, this isn't palm now. I'm gonna finish the choke like that. So this is a Bravo choke. The traditional Bravo choke is just is one hand on the lapel and crossing his arm in front of the chest. I want you guys to focus on the lapel, so you're gonna do like a cross choke, you know, a variation Bravo choke, cross choke. So I bring him close, I stretch the lapel and I feed here. Okay, if that's the case, I sure don't have enough space, I start to dig. Okay, I release his lapel way sooner. Okay, so instead to keep this part here, I already stretch, and I keep him close to me. He doesn't want that, he want to go far away. Once he goes far away, I switch my grip. Okay, sling part, this grip, he doesn't going to escape. He might try to swing his head under, I keep my forearm on his chest. Okay, I can pretend that I'm after this arm and stuff, and then I can already start to attack in here. Make the same grip a little bit over. Okay? And then I can start to foot on the hip and then keep attacking, and then soon I swing. Okay, and on his face, close, lift, give space, go down. Close, lift, give space, go down. Now I have a choke. Okay, you guys gonna see how strong it is. That grip and that choke, and I'm gonna keep pulling to your chest and open your hand away. Same thing. I want you guys just to do on bottom, because this is something that I know you guys already know how to do it. But I'm on half guard. Okay? So what I'm doing, I want to go to the Bravo choke. I start to free his lapel in here. Okay? I start to come in here. But then I come on the sling lapel. Okay, so I start to attack in here. And then once again I come on the sling lapel. Palm up, yeah, same position. This, when he comes to the top, it is the same than I had before. Okay? So I know you guys learned Bravo choke before, but normally we go on the thick lapel. It's not necessary. Go to the sling part. Will be a little bit more useful. Okay? Sure. Let's do on water a little bit, okay? Eu vou fazer daí,
Juntar o joelho e jogar pra cima. Você pode
Depende do cara. Eu posso ir aqui aí. Eu preciso. Vamos pesar, mas tu tem que tirar o joelho do chão. Tem que tirar o teu. Aí eu passo aqui. Aí daqui eu fecho. Na hora que eu chego aqui, eu vou raspar. Vai demorar 2 minutos quando eu vou te raspar aqui. Aí eu começo a abrir esse aqui pro lado. Aí tenta ir pra baixo. Triângulo. E fica fora. Entendeu? Triângulo aqui.
Como se fosse
Fecha as duas pernas juntas, junta o teu joelho. E estica aqui. Isso aí sabe o que eu comecei a fazer? Porque os caras tinham mania de ficar em pé. Aí era assim, eu apertava. Eu fazia assim, apertava o joelho.
Você viu que ontem, eles naturalmente, eu ficava em pé contigo, tu tentava laçar, eu botava o joelho no chão de novo. Meu instinto era botar o joelho no chão.
Porque no chão...
Porque eu quero abrir...
Aqui tem mais... Você fazia assim, aí...
Mas aí eu... Meu objetivo era comprar o position em casa. Sem conseguir faz isso aí comigo.
Quando o cara tá no alto, ele tá preocupado em abrir a perna. Ele fecha rapidinho. Eu faço isso daqui, faz assim. Aí essa perna vai pra dentro. You can go across or you can go same side. Depois que eu vou mostrar essa da Mario-Esfiha. Deixa eu fazer a
porque essa aí você tem que chegar nessa posição de ponto, sabe?
Essa é a Mario-Esfiha e uma palma. Faz ele tá pensando que ele rasga.
Cara, você fala que
faz essa.
Eu mostrei, mas precisa mostrar. Ele já me ensinou.
Cara, ele botar um cara puxando assim, tá com medo, cara, bota isso, o cara cai no fundo.
Ele faz aqui, desse mesmo lado. Não é que ele faz o que geralmente é mas o movimento do quadril ele dá, mas sai de quadro fechado ele fechado. Sempre fechado.
Até essa mão chegar no pé. Quando chega no calcanhar,
Pra dentro.
aí ele dá um puxão e traz o calcanhar. Aí ele puxa, né? No começo ele tá só puxando, que é pra deixar o calcanhar leve. Quando ele chega no calcanhar, aí ele dá um puxão, daí ele empurra, ele pede o mundo de lado. Ele fica assim. Quando o cara cai de bunda, aí
Mas você nem chega a puxar, só deixa o cara não consegue apoiar.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time. I know it's like reach out a little bit, but it's hard. It's much harder for me to get more. Again,
Você acha que fala todo mundo assim, né?
let go. You're
Fala não, né?
it's much easier to start. So yeah, so when you're here, this is where I thought you were. I'm gonna get your trach before I'm gonna get you over. Feel that? Right here. That's right.
I like it. So Colin, did you go away to a technology session?
what's that?
Or she went to Dallas or something?
Oh, she's going to Houston. Yeah, she didn't actually go. Like, she was like, I'm not going. I was like, okay. So, I don't know. She changed her mind.
Ué, tá bom. Tá pegando. O que foi? Vai pra caramba. Get it, Pablo.
I always want to grab it though.
But you want to try to work the grip on those sticks. That is the first grip. The second grip can go down. Now, if you have to hold this side here, the second grip, that's fine. No.
I guess you can you split the key.
But make a strong grip.
Yeah, that's where he's grabbing. He's right at the split right here. That's yeah. This is right where he's grabbing.
Did they grab Jordan?
Because I think that's where he's grabbing.
What if you can grab the other side of the
Here,
Yeah.
this, and then this.
Right, yeah. I wonder if that would be, because there would be another skinny part. But then you definitely like to have some good stuff. Hey, when you give me up the
So you remember when I first started and I had my tongue going and you started teaching my script? And like I had been wearing that for 1 month, okay? But then as soon as we started doing this, it just shredded because it didn't have a good enforcement right there.
Is that like just escalated because they give like this is the skinny part, that's like an extra skinny.
It wasn't that the fabric was any thinner, it's just it didn't have this reinforced part in this.
Oh, that didn't have that?
No, it didn't have this because you wouldn't need it. That's why would you need it? When I use the grip.
I like the skinny part, never. Yeah.
I don't know this joke.
Like you were saying, this is just true. So you're grabbing, don't have.
Same side. So for him, because I don't really need that thing holding his lapel, he's thinking that I'm pulling like this guy. You can push a little bit.
Were you feeling it on that side or that side? Okay. Two. I'm gonna get up to the side. So yeah, so when you're going for the grip, like you're turning to get that angle. is like a big deal. If I'm just reaching in here, I can only get 45 degrees, 60 degrees. Once I get here, I'm starting to 90. Around the corner, yeah.
Take your time. You can open from the front.
You're gonna end up on the internet like that. You'll be like, here, look. See, I'm getting now my thumbs right here. I can always, if I want to relax, I can.
Aí, a gente tava falando aqui, eu tô vendo a capacidade do meu live, troca da sua frente de um lado e outro lado. Também, se conseguir, é melhor, né? Porque também é outra parte firme.
Não, se não é melhor fazer desse lado.
Então, se vai ser pra bola,
É melhor fazer aqui e aqui. Vai estar aqui e aqui. Se você fizer aqui, e aqui está também. Mas você está indo buscar mais lá no fundo. Aí no here, but if I have it here and here, I would do as well. But you see, these you have to account for that is this here. So sometimes you're going to go. But you have to make a math there. You have to understand that these gaps are going to happen, or there is your second group again. So then you might have to. Yeah. So I got one. Right in the notch. The other one, right in the notch. That's it. Yeah, but you have to know that is where you are. Right? Yeah, this is the Aí tu pode fazer, vem desse lado, segura e bota a mão na minha cabeça, segura. Não, segura. Segurou? Bota a mão na minha cabeça, como se estivesse puxando a minha cabeça. Me puxa pra dentro. Não, me puxa pra dentro. Não. Pra dentro não. Assim, pra botar aqui, como se você estivesse puxando a minha cabeça. Aí, daqui a pouco, quando você sente que eu começo a empurrar, tu empurra e joga o regulamento. Na parte que fica fechadinho. Porque com uma mão, eu tô aqui, esse arco, no teu pescoço. Aí você sabe que eu não no teu pescoço. A mão, aí eu faço essa pegada aqui. Eu faço a pegada e jogo a mão em cima da tua cabeça. Puxando pro mar. Cada um quer. Só que eu tô com a pegada já. Aí na hora que eu te empurro, tu vai, porque você já tá querendo sair, porque eu tô te puxando com as duas mãos pra baixo. A tua reação natural é ir pra cima. Aí eu já tô com a pegada. Yeah, just one little detail, we'll do a couple times and then we'll move on, okay? So, look, one thing here. Okay, so the first, I grab the lapel in here, and then I make this grip. I have to. Okay, these I should to know. When I'm fighting him, when I'm training with him, I'm making some. I try to gather information. His gi is tight. His gi is not tight. It's tight under his armpit, but it's long. It's long. It's not long, but it's loose under his armpit. So you start to gather information because then you know how long you're gonna need to get him in the position. So I get in here. I get my first hand, and then I'm pulling him down. He's pushing my arm down, and then what I'm doing here is when I pull his head, his natural reaction, is go up. I know that, okay? So I know what my enemy army gonna do next. So what I do is, instead to pull here, what I'm gonna do is this. For him, looks like I'm doing this, but I already make my grip, and then I pulling his head close. I keep pulling him close, really hard, and then he thinks that I'm trying to pull him towards me. So, on the worst case, he stopped to pushing inside. Okay? On the best case, he started reacting, to posturing up. So, either he's going to stop to force inside, or he's going to start to go and posturing up. When he does that, I push, and that's when I enter my hand. Okay? So, if I'm just here and then hold, he starts to position in a way, either he's going to be too close or he's going to be too far where I cannot go over. Okay? So, I bring him down and I keep pulling him to me, and then I give him all the tips that I want his head close to my chest. You're going to start to feel when he starts to push back. So you push a little bit, enough to rotate your hand. Now I have my hands in very good position. Okay? It's all about tricking him. It's much easier than muscle him. Can I power him up and choke it as I can? I'm going to waste a lot of energy that I might need later. It's not, especially when you go for a tournament, go to IBJJF tournament, sometimes you have 7 fights to do. Absolute 4 more. So you keep wasting energy for free. Later, sometime, the bank going to be on the negative, and you're going to have more power. So you try to save as much as you can all the time.
Start of my life.
That's good. Saving so much.
Yes.
I'm not very smart.
I'm taking my space. This is mine now.
Okay. Yeah, right, exactly. Tired.
Yep. Like kind of works the hand up there to pick up.
What? No, man, it's Mike did it yesterday.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was already like that.
Yeah, man.
I didn't do that.
Dude, Mike, he was mad.
He's so, when he talks, he's so like, when he rolls,
He rolls, man.
he's not the same as he rolls.
Yeah, but in his defense, I was trying to armbar. This is an open mat last night, and the guy.
Mike, have you seen Mike?
Oh, right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. Given the only option is
Okay, folks, parou. So we're in the close guard. I want to do a sweep. We call mermaid sweep. Okay. We used to do that I was even laughing because the other day somebody said, oh, that's a technique that Leandro Low invented. I said, dude, this technique is old when I was young. What is jump close guard, open your knees, slide, and squeeze the knees to your opponent together, and then sweep him over the head or sweep him behind, you know. So was funny how, and this guy actually, the person who made this comment saw this technique years back, so I didn't know why he made the comment, because he knows this technique is older. But there was an adjustment that we started doing, and then another thing that I want to point is that's really hard to say, I invented something. You know, we have the same problem. We're tending to get the same solution. Okay? So the jiu-jitsu are leading us to the same path. Okay? You start to getting the same kind of game, and then the next logical thing to do will happen in this academy in Japan, and in academy in Brazil. So we're gonna reach the same conclusion. It's 2 plus 2 equals 4, no matter where you at. Okay? And this is the same with jiu-jitsu. So it's not that I invented nothing, but then I start to understand once again that the technique that I'm going to do on the floor is the same technique that I used to do when we are standing and sliding my knee down. I just have to figure out a way to wrap the gift in a proper way. So come in here, I prefer to do this if somebody smaller with shorter legs. So
I like where I'm smaller today.
my goal is remove his knees to the floor. Okay? Or at least shift his weight completely to his head when I do that. And then I can try to bear hug him, or to hold his belts, or to come in here. And sometimes he gives that to me. Sometimes he put his weight and stretch his leg, you know. So he stretch, you know, sometimes he'll try to do stuff here, hug me, and then stretch your legs up on the area, or just even go. Sometimes he even do this for me. But my goal is remove this from the floor. Somehow I have to get that. The way I do most is, like if I'm doing the Bravo choke, the Bravo choke where I'm sitting here and giving the lapel. I can even, you know, be doing this for the Bravo choke, and then I shift my hand here to his belt. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rocket chair backwards and pull him as high as I can. Okay, so I pull him here, I open my legs, and then I turn one leg a little bit sideways, and then I force down, and then I squeeze his knees together, and I close the triangle. Right above his knee line. Okay? Squeeze. If you go below his knee line, he's gonna get the half guard. So I squeeze and I figure 4. Okay? So now he's like a mermaid. He doesn't have legs, he just has one part here. So at this point, I'm gonna start to attack his hand, because what he does is he starts to open up and try to keep his base here. Okay, so what I start to do is I put my hand like that, and then I start to open up his base, and I get the underhook and push his armpit. And then I can sometimes go to the top, and then sometimes I spend a minute doing this battle. As long as I have these, I know that eventually I'm going to sweep him. I cannot lose this control. So close the triangle, lock tight, and figure 4. Okay? This is not enough. If I do this, eventually he's going to start to slide his knee, and then he might pass my guard, might get into the half guard. Okay, so pull him, figure 4. Close the triangle and figure 4. So we start to pushing him, and then sometimes I will just push it up and go to the top. Sometimes as I'm going to the top, I can release a little bit of pressure to go to the back. This is about, if you really attack much better on the back than on the mount, you try to go to the back. If you are about the same, go to the mount, because it's much easier movement, you know, much easier to keep your guard closed and just push the floor, and you're going to land on the mount here. You guys know that when you mount or when you take the back, you're not in a hurry. You can spend the rest of the fight there. You cannot get a warning for stalling if you're on the mount or on the back. Okay, so you take a sweet time over there. Let him freak out. Let him burn his energy. Okay? So the important thing is making his knee go up on there. You don't want to pressure on his knee. If his knee is on the floor, his friction is harder to do. To be honest, I start to do that training no-gi, training MMA, and then the guys like to do this, and then because it's all wet and stuff, I could just stretch my legs and pin them together. You know, that's how I start to work on this attack from the floor, and eventually I realize this will give me the best efficiency on the position. So, it is important you get him up on the air. Every time you're looking for something really good, you cannot tip him to what you want to do. Because I don't want to, normally what he's doing when he goes up on the air, he's not really trying to to keep his legs to get together. He's normally opening his legs to get a little bit more base, but that's not like he's focusing in opening his leg and resist. You know, that's not what he was doing. You know, he's looking for space to put in his hand, so he's flowing a little bit more, and then you close the leg, you attack him from a direction that he's not expecting. Okay? So, once again, any way you can take him up. Okay? Sometimes just here is enough. So you're pointing his knee and my leg doesn't come down. That's fine. I will come back again. Okay? I let him sit up. And then I got him here. Okay? So pull him and close. Okay? Hold tight and figure 4. Now start to open his base. Okay? Sometimes you can go to the top right away. He recover, he push the floor. Push the floor. So you come in here, and then you can maybe start to open up this side. You know, and get whatever position. Once you come to on top of here, I'm a mount. I take my time. I fight for the double unders. If the hip break is in here, after I mount, I will eventually score 4 more. Then I come to the top. And then when I come to the top, I try to do so, trapping his arms high. Okay? Yeah, 2 and 4. And when you close, you can try to close in here, but it's going to be harder. You are stronger sideways. Okay? So you bring him, you rotate a little bit, close sideways, and then put your hook in front. Okay, let's try.
Guys, Comprido left Montreal, he's being modest. He was mentioned he was doing that with MMA. He was doing that with Brock. That's it. We put that one off right. So that's how much we work.
This Brock guy.
You got that from me.
By the way, we can do this as the umbrella.
I was between the dolphin. I was like, dolphins are like, at least there's totally Here, get your side. You had it. I feel like you had it.
Well, I wasn't rocking that into my knee. I was down.
So,
This is all right.
I have to. Huh? What?
Yeah, there's not really a lot doing right there at that point. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I just get one or the other. Just chill out and like if I can't get where I want to
My legs are around here. It'll be a wash later. Let me try this out. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, like if I wanted to, I could get my basement. Now I feel like there's a little danger in there when I open up. Yeah, maybe. Oh shit, I'm so sorry. I was like, what is touching my you guys were like, hey, go get it. You got the all clear, right? Mario said it was fine. I can drive. Once I load you up, then you're just going to go wherever I want. It's like getting like an electric chair kind of length. Deep half or something. I didn't want this one. But I feel like this is a long guy, skinny guy. I feel like the only time I'm going to hit this is someone's stomach. Try to really hit on your side. It doesn't matter what. But I just want to try to just here. Just get you on the button. I was like, this is better than. I was like, okay, well, I can try to put mine. Yeah, stay on top. Yeah. He was hanging out here. You couldn't get the lift. You know. You just reset.
Yeah, push his wrist.
Yeah, I can hit the yeah, I'm trying to get my
I will be honest with you, that's better for my longer
Not for people who enjoy
But it's important to know the mechanics. You know, even if you don't want to get stopped, you know when it goes
Which side was that? Left, right, or down?
I can see this would be useful in certain techniques. Doug teaches this technique where you get up, you post stage, you go here on my shoulders, there, you jump up. I feel like there's so many other things I'm going to do before.
I feel like the he's not helping me over. I missed and I ended up getting serious. Yeah. Like you pulled me up so far. Right? So you're just going to find a medium.
I can see it. Just try to
Guys, drink a little bit of water, okay? In 5 minutes, drink a little bit of water, and then we start.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's going to be fine. That was where showing up. Awesome. So thank you.
I'm in Bloomingdale, Northwest. Oh, yeah? Yeah, when I go to
This is the first. How many schools do you have? Because I know Kazuza's got one.
He's actually at the library. Yeah. I've been there a couple times.
Yeah, I didn't see when you came to this. Yeah, right. So like I graduated at 17.
I got some tape. You want to tape it up? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do the fancy high gluten finger tape.
You say that. No, I haven't been training as much in the finger tape.
I think I should have gone either way. I started early.
Like a professional way of doing it.
I was up real early this morning too.
Oh, really?
What else am I
How do you like that? How long have you been in Dallas?
3 miles.
That's quick, so y'all moved to Dallas and then right
Yeah, my girl was doing a summer residency at Children's.
Never stop, right?
Oh, wow. So now is she
Yeah, she's already
official and like found her hospital or whatever?
Yeah, so she had to do, so she's going to be a minister, so she had to do a clinical pastoral
I
thing. Yeah. So she's done with that, and she'll probably never work in a clinical setting ever again.
Because you cannot change.
The like group that she's employed under makes everybody who comes up go do at least this that way you always got that.
And I'll go hunker down in Louisiana, or is it kind of like
It's a residency as well.
it's kind of near here, or just somewhere, wherever, you know, the river patch or somewhere,
Yeah, I think she wants to get back to Dallas.
That's cool. Those are good. Like I had to move around for work and stuff. You get different perspective because you see different areas of the region with
It's interesting too because
buy a house.
well, and that's the thing because we could tell you about it, but we don't want to.
Well, 2 years.
Yeah, it's like we don't want to do that and then try and sell a house after that.
But still renting the house is not
Yeah, right.
like cheaper than rent.
It's also I'm kind of worried.
Yeah, that's what for. I started when I was 8 years old.
I'm not going to use
I started renting when I was now. I don't know my renting was in Louisiana. They moved now. They were there for a while. And I was like, I visited on my way down. We drove through, and I visited, and I was like, I don't have that luxury.
Well, and I imagine that's not a lot of people have.
Enjoy it while you have it.
Yeah, we're going to try and save as much money.
Yeah, well, it's also a benefit that I thought we do in New York. We're
Just going all day with them.
you just saved everything and we're able to come back down here.
They have this other guy who split.
Not really worried about stuff. Yeah, we're having to save too right now. We're planning a wedding for like March. Yeah, we've been trying to like move everything she's doing with work.
Yeah, that's a lot to do at once.
So every other day it's like, hey, have you done this? Have you done this?
Oh yeah, you can
200 people.
Okay. I was there last day.
She's got a big team. And that's like small.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. It's like we started whenever I just already moved like way. I totally forgot about it.
Yeah, you've been coming a long time.
And he's just
You really got better than when you first started doing it. That's for sure.
I just wanted to shoot for a lot of friends.
So this will move out. I don't be nice to you. I know, right? Everybody's gonna be coming after you. They're gonna break you in. They're gonna start wrist locking you. His wrist locks you.
A little bit. I want to do one more thing for the close guard, okay? Okay, so look, I like to do a lot of cross grip. Okay, cross grip is right now people don't use as much as we used to use before, but it's awesome because you don't need to, like I said, I don't want to scare him when I have a good control. So I make my pocket grip. I don't need to cross his arm. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just have this to stop him to post. Okay, so if I'm gonna do a bump sweep, I keep these, and then when I bump, I just make sure I keep his hand close to me and I don't allow him to post. Okay, because when I do bump sweep reaching, he can see that coming way sooner, and then he starts to position his body, makes my life harder. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a pocket grip, and then I'm gonna relax in here because I don't need to stop him to post on the floor yet. Okay. So what I'm going to start to do now is I'm going to bring him close to me to find space for my hand. I'm going to bring him close to me and find space for my hand. At the beginning, my hand is going to be here high on his leg. Okay? But my goal is hold his heel. Okay? So I put my hand in here, and then I keep pulling him towards me, and then swinging my hand all the way until I make this grip here. I hold like his heel, the ball of his heel. I personally, this could work, holding the pocket grip here, but what happens sometimes the key goes up on his leg and then you don't have as much leverage as you need. So I keep pulling him until I get in here, okay? So notice that I was just pulling him towards me until I get to this point. Now, and every time I pull him towards me, he pushes himself back. Okay, what I'm going to do now that I have this, I'm going to pull him to me, and then when I feel that he's going back, I'm going to push him, and then you see he lost the balance, he almost there. I'm going to do one more time, and I'm going to push him again. My goal is get his butt on the floor. You can come back. He has his butt on the floor. He already sit there. My guard is still closed. I'm holding his heel, and then he sit on his butt. So what I do is I can turn sideways a little bit. And now, let's say at this point his hand is in here. That's not a big deal because now is when I'm going to drag the hand towards me. And then I start to bump and I can let him go, push the floor, and go to the top. Okay? One of our teammates from Brazil, Igor Silva, training with Esfiha for a long time. Was a driving student, music student, a very good friend of mine. And he does this every single fight, and then he sweep and mount, and then he lets people go back to his close guard, and then he does the same thing again, and sweep and mount, and he keeps scoring 6 points and going back to the guard and repeating.
Heavyweight?
He's super heavy to, sometimes he fights ultra, but his weight now is super. So, he does this really, really well, okay? So, as I said earlier, I'm setting my traps, and then there is some stuff that I need to avoid him to do in certain moments. I don't need to avoid him to post now, okay? I don't need to commit my energy to stop him to post. I just want to make sure when I need to do that, I have the edge on him. I'm going to have the good control. So I control here. Okay? And if he is at this point, I make a strong grip. That's not an easy grip to break. If he keeps trying to break my grip, that's going to be good because when I pull him, he lost balance farther. And then I control his leg. They keep trying, now I already have what I want. You know? So I get to the heel, one more, but now I push him back. Sometimes he gets under his butt right away. Okay? You saw that I bridge controlling his heel, but you guys, if you're not feeling comfortable with that because you're gonna roll over your shoulder, it's a little bit awful. When he's already on his butt, you can push a little bit and then just come to a regular bump sweep. Because from this point, it's really hard for him to defend. When his butt is on the floor, it's really hard for him to defend. When his knees on the floor, it's different. Okay? Here he can lean on me, gonna be much harder for me to bump sweep. But my goal is get to him before I show which sweep I wanna do, is get to him in here. Okay? And then I'm gonna go over this side here. He's off balance here. I don't wanna go in that direction. I'm gonna come on this direction, and it's an easy 6 points.
Palm down,
Yeah, palm down. Hold it like his heel like that, and I keep pulling and opening his leg. Okay? So on the beginning, he's here, and then I want to bring his leg across like that. And then I push him on this position. He's off balance. You see, I'm completely off balance. I'm almost falling by myself. In here. Okay? Let's try this one.
You're getting better.
This looks interesting. I sort of feel like if you do this to me, my knee is going to disintegrate.
You go back. Sit back. Let's sit up.
Alrighty.
Yeah, but you're sitting on it, like.
No, go ahead. Just take it slow.
Relax with me. Just control and move his hand, that's fine. Just water when you get things flat. Pull him one more. Pull him once more. With your legs. Close the guard. Pull him a little bit and push him hard. Push him away hard. Yeah. Now put your hand on the floor. You can hold the foot and do like
How do you get him from
So he's really all he's doing is once he's got my heel there, he's rocking me forward and back. And every time he's rocking, he's pulling that a little bit. Pulling that a little bit.
the last time he pulled it and cuts the grip.
Right here, so right here, you get your leg back, right? Just go forward now.
I've got some for a really long time.
The referee will look at
You don't need to pull me there. You just hold there.
Now you release like a normal hit.
There we go. Yeah. I feel like I got a gap first.
Can you keep your hips real low now? If you try to drop your weight, your weight on my hips there, that makes it hard. Yeah, now I can't get up anymore. I can't get up now. That's the only thing is when you keep that weight while you turn.
I don't feel good. Like I'm do that. Use your legs.
Gonna open the hips up.
I forget who I saw give that advice. Just in a regular closed guard, staying rolling up on the hips there, heels down.
For a set of interior tilt, you have to like open it up.
Try bumping that shoulder in or dive that shoulder forward.
You'll be asking yourself that question for years. You'll be asking He just kidding me.
I might have.
It's not this year.
I'm having a hard time reaching. As I pull,
Yeah, just like it feels like man, you gotta hurry the this is not even shit on the shin right there.
I guess if I'm right spot,
just be not hurting. Well, I mean, whatever you want to do, just
I think I'm trying to pull this and it's telegraph.
Yeah, don't do it because
Stay tight long enough. I always get them like right on top of my feet.
Probably not too far there. No, but it's like it's like a whole jackknife kind of thing going on. But either way, I'm just like,
Trying to do that.
you can pass as well as swing, whatever you want to do, just like go.
That's now when I can show what they're gonna do. How people
I'm digging a little bit, but
One more.
I go that way.
It's almost like acting on that. I pretend to be calm and not be careful what is going on, and then I get it. And one of them.
Oh, man. Starts turning this. That turns that corner more again. He's getting a lot more with the legs.
I don't think I would have been able to actually commit to that because he would probably stop me.
He did a shoe. Right. What he did with this though, is he mirrored because it was open and he flipped it out. But I think just the
Yeah, it's like, let me count the ways.
I think where this would work well, we tried to sit up and do one of the swing back as that axis over here. Hit with the bump, kind of like pain, you know? You go up, bump it back. Because then I'm going to be really conscious about keeping my weight low. I'm not going to want to. I like that. Yeah. Doubling it in that fake. You got hands.
Yeah. So when I describe the grips, I describe them as following. When I want to control you along the line of our forearm, so if I want to pull, and I want to actually I use the pocket grip. When I want to redirect,
For me, it was amusing, but
try to use the pocket grip something like this. You have to use pocket grip. Spider guard. Reminds me of area. What's the safe up here? Yeah. I guess that's this one really bad. That's bad, that's bad. It's not even as bad as it used to be. I'm not calling you.
So, like Phil said, we came yesterday and we had a chance to train a little bit. We are not very often on the same city, and I know a lot what he's trying to do for my students with him, and then I know what I have to avoid to happen, you know, and it is some actions that I took that he wished me to explain to you guys, you know, as a way to stop somebody with the game that he was trying to impose on me. So
because you know, a lot of times the guys ask me how I pass the guard. Right, I'll pass. I'll stuff the leg to my right. You know, normally I'll go here, pass it, and then we talked about this a lot in the class. I teach a lot of these. If the guy's leg outside, you know, I managed to get the leg in between my legs. I started here, and then collapse on the leg, maybe control here, maybe control here, maybe control here, and then start to go, and pass. And then through the years, you know, I have been doing that. You know, I feel comfortable. I do it a lot, I repeat it a lot, and then so many times that I find like I get a really good tuning. And you know, Professor Driving comes, I'll try to do it. You know, I can never get both sides. I was able to get here, but I never got the other side. Same thing with Comprido. With Rodrigo, I might get one side, but I don't get both sides. When I say both sides, I cannot get this leg between my legs. I mean, I got these, but then I didn't get either here, here, or here. Same thing with driving, you know. We all three have about the same body build, you know, we look a lot, very similar build. No? Too much? That's right. So, but as far as, yeah, I'm joking, but we're tall, we have long legs. So the long legs, it makes a difference as far as like be able to put that long leg between your legs. It makes a big difference. A shorter leg, it's easier because it's less to put it between the legs. With the guy with the longer legs, it's a little bit harder. I find, you know, and then of course, do driving, the level is different. I was never able to get both sides. And then I talked to me, I couldn't get it. I tried for 35 minutes. I was not able to, never got both sides together. One time I was able to get in a half guard with him. And that was it. So he's going to talk about a little bit what he did. Because I know some of you, how many of you asked me how to prevent the guard pass? I mean, just put your hands up for a second. 1, 2, look, just an idea. So it happens a lot. So now pass to me.
So first of all, is that the strategy that I was talking about, like how the generals try to deploy the army and stuff, and how this works. So I know what I don't want to be with Esfiha. I don't want him to get on my half guard and cross his body. Okay, side control will be pretty much the same. So, but normally before that he gets to the half guard. So that's yesterday I was doing everything I could to stop him to reach the half guard. So first thing I was doing is I was able to put him on the close guard. I always make sure I have the control, and then to be honest, I could before the first interaction, I could not tell for which side he will try to pass. Okay, and then after that was clear which side he will keep smashing my leg and try to pass. So I make sure when I pull guard, he's much bigger than me. I don't wanna pull lazy and drop my legs, and I allow him to smash my legs right away. So
let me go over a little bit. And then because when people get like he's saying, normally I'll trap his knee, I punch it down, and then I get right here. Okay, so look what he's doing.
So I always had some kind of foot on the hip, or even later I started to put my foot up here, and then I was angling and moving this leg, and then I make sure that when I get close to him, I was pulling him towards me with both of my hands, and then escaping my hip inside. And then this happening. He was still trying to forcing that, but I managed to get in here. Okay, or even at least get my leg high enough where I could then adjust my hip to close. Okay? So I closed. Even in the close guard, it was clear that he want to put this leg down all the time. Okay? So if I could not keep my leg closed, I keep my knee in. Okay, here or here. I have to force my knee. If you drop your leg and you open your knee, now you're in trouble. Okay, so the knee, so when I was talking to some guys, you cannot keep your leg closed. You put your heels down and then you close your knee, and then you have a similar feeling. When the guy is not trying to do nothing, you can relax. But if his hand is in here, I have to keep acting, my leg active. I don't want to be on this position because then I'm burning my legs all the time. You know, so every time I could, I was getting here, and then one of the things what was helping me to prevent this leg to collapse, because I knew if my left collapse, my whole phalanx will collapse, my whole army will be gone. So what I had to do, what you guys think, what was my first answer to that? You guys already see.
Controlling his right arm.
Control what?
Controlling his right arm.
Control the arm. So then really soon I start to release this and getting here. Okay, so this takes his ability away to attack my leg with his hand. Makes it much harder. Doesn't mean Esfiha moves well, like if I get lazy for a second, he then move his leg back and then he starts to smash back in here. But then I start to make, you know, then I start to try to get in here, and then I was trying to set him up for the choke, but I could not do nothing from here. But I released the pressure from the side that I knew would be the most likely one to collapse. Okay, so at this point, I'm not trying to find a way to beat him. I was trying to find a way to be able to fight him without lose really soon. If this happens soon in the fight, if I have to deal with him in here really soon, it will be devastating. I will have to commit so much energy to survive there, and for my spirits never work good for me when he gets in there. And I have very good half guard. It's probably my favorite game when I'm on board, but that's not where I want to be with him. Okay, so I have to protect, first of all, like that, okay, when my guard is closed. So making sure that I can first get close enough to close my guard, or at least get around him. So I have longer legs than many of you who train with him, and many of you are going to say, I cannot close the guard on him. So, but you cannot allow, first of all, you cannot escape your hip to the right. Okay, if you ever go there with him, and then I'm using him as a reference, but when you go with your, whoever you train, you're going to have his habits. You're going to be the side that he does better. And that doesn't mean that Esfiha cannot pass to the other side at all. It's just that that is a better, it will be more risky if he goes on this one. Even if I don't defend as good for this side, I can bank that my so-so defense can stop his so-so attack. I don't want to have my A defense against his A attack all the time. Okay?
We talk about that, right? My good side trying to match with his good side and vice versa. Well, I talked about one time, like this guy we used to have, like Claudio Moreno, our teammate with us. He had, on one side, he was a black belt tough world champion. The other side, he looked like a little kid. Like he was literally blind for one side.
He stopped training.
He was like, so you had, as long as, if you do it here, ah, my God, you look like you're going to die. You tell him this way, okay.
He stopped.
Bye-bye.
Many times I stopped. Like I spent the whole entire training trying to reach the other side of his guard. The moment I changed side, oh, I have a cramp. I have to. It's always like that.
It's a real thing. It's a, but I mean, we have. I was telling Troy, what is Troy? Troy, like he was doing. Oh, he was doing my dungeon side. You know, when we first started training, like way back when, I remember everybody would say, okay, 5 to each side, 10 to each side, whatever. Today I see it different. I don't do 10 to each side, 5 to each side. I'll do 10 for one side, or maybe 9 for one side, 1 to the other side. I'll focus on my good side. You know, because what is the chance you're gonna be on your knee as you have to? You can't be totally blind like Claudio Moreno was. Definitely, I think you try to. Then if you realize his game, we're all gonna have a good and a bad side. I'll try to attack on his bad side. Like I have to be know my partner a little bit and understand. Like that's what he's talking about. Learning the game, right? Studying the guy.
this battle, okay? My guy, you guys might heard about, but if you're not into military history like me, you might not know why they are famous. The Band of Thebes. The Band of Thebes is famous because everybody used to lose for the Spartans, right? Because when you do phalanx, you go with the shields. I think the left side is weaker, if I'm not wrong, okay? I might be wrong. So the left side is weaker. And then they compensate. Every time you engage the phalanx, they move a little bit to the left side. So both sides go to the left side. And then they always fight deploying whatever the best troops on the right side. So what these guys did in Thebes, they put all his good troops on the right side. And they went through the Spartans right away. And they collapsed the right side. And they enveloped them. And they destroyed the Spartans. And after that, that's what started the collapse of Sparta. And that's why Sparta disappeared from the map. Is after the Band of Thebes beat them up. You know, and Thebes is one of the big city-states, but they never been expect to win that battle. And you can beat people even if your force is weaker if you would apply the right strategy. Okay, so on this case, it's not about how to beat Esfiha, it's how to use what you have to defend. You know, once you realize what this guy's trying to do. And then I was debating with him because he said, show that stuff. I said, that's not even a technique. You know, because that's not something like I show you guys a bunch of techniques today.
The concept.
Start here, do this, do that. This is not a technique. It's nothing that I did with him that I can say, okay, every time you escape your hip here, and I cannot really say that. I was battling to avoid one specific thing. You know, so it's really hard for me to turn that into a technique. Because like you guys see, it's nothing special in what I was doing. I was knowing which side he wanted to collapse. I was trying to escape in my hip and pushing him in the opposite direction. You know, every time I was losing that, and we're not even starting to tell when I was losing that, but I was trying to, first I started with the prevention. I always try to get in here and then get into this position, you know. My foot too. Another thing is, you see when he's doing that, if I keep my foot close to my butt, he gets there really fast. Okay, so when he was doing that and then try to push my leg in here, I was having to open my base and stretch my leg in here and somehow compensate to get in here. So that's just the strategy I deployed to don't lose this leg. Don't let this leg collapse. Okay, and that's what I want you guys to wonder. It's more about you guys understanding what I was doing than to be able to replicate anything, because you know, I was super high. Like when we mentioned this yesterday, I said, man, how are I going to turn that into a technique? What makes sense? Okay?
And so, I hope not everybody learned that well. I can't pass anybody learning. That's it.
Then, obviously, we get into the point, and then I'm not big with spider guard, but I need to have control over him. Then I start to pull guard, making sure that I control both hands. But because I don't have a great spider guard, I cannot keep his hand on my lapel all the time. So I either here or here. So what happened is, with this hand, he can get control over this leg. And then he was beating me. He eventually started beating me on this leg. So he hugs, and then he managed to get this leg inside here.
Okay. That was the thing he did. Every time I got here, then I tried to get this one, he would manage to, I couldn't control the hip. So he was like walking shoulders backwards, and a lot of times bring this foot back into my hip. And once you get your legs on the guy's hips, you know, we talked about that, like, I can't fight that. His leg pressing me away. His strongest muscles against my arms pulling in, trying to do back muscles against his whole legs. There's too much to do.
So, then he gets in here. Now I'm in a critical position. And then, man, you can trust me, I'm lazy. Okay, I don't want to spend energy for free. But it has some points that you're either going to spend all you got, or you're going to lose. Okay? On the end of the day, if he get control over this leg here, and then he reach the side control, I don't care if he was tired, if we are on our last training. Having him on my side control, he isolates his arm really well. I would tap. Okay? So you have to know that this cannot happen. Okay? So I was here, and then I said, fuck man, this cannot happen. I still had my foot on his hip. So then was pushing with everything I got in here. And then I'm not strong at all, and I'm not making, I had to create a little bit of space, and then my whole goal is to swing my foot back in here. When you do that, you frustrate your opponent. Because, yeah, he can anytime get back my foot over there, or like he was getting tired to get in there. But that's something that, okay, I get back in there, he's going to have to start.
I have to start over every time. I can't pass it if I don't have that foot between my legs.
So he started to get frustrated. Okay? And then that's when I start to beat the moment, that's the moment that I never allow this to happen. If he gets in here, I knew we'll be done. What they're going to do here, they're going to push his head. They're going to push his face to the floor. Yeah, I will try. I know that's going to work. I've been in this position with him so many times, I know that it doesn't going to work. So this can never happen. I already lose one leg. Now I have to focus everything here. Okay? So that's when you push the hip and you escape. And then when you go with somebody bigger than you, you always want to frame and kind of allow his weight to dissipate on your leg. So every time he was getting on top, I was in here. Okay? I wasn't fighting back. I was just open up my knee and framing here and take and position to when I had a chance to see what kind of chance will present to me to try somehow sweep him or escape to his back. And make sure that I will not lose that. So all the time, the heel goes on the hip, and the knee point outside. So then you can keep this guy far away.
And then what I have been teaching you guys from the top, because I do this, I feel comfortable doing that from the top. How I teach you guys to pass the guard, take the foot off the hip. So I'm teaching this off. His reaction was putting that back on. So he found the match for what my game's based on. Take this off here or take this off between my legs. I just don't want my hip pushing me away. Because here I can do all these things, crushing the leg either here or this way, but I cannot do when it's stacked on the hip and leg press me away.
Okay, so then that was this. My heel was inside. So to move my foot with the hand the way he just moved was an option because it was inside. Then there was more option than for him to put my foot inside. But that happened a couple times, and then I managed to then commit everything to regain guard. Okay, so and then you really have to commit. Either you're gonna pass that moment or you're gonna die. Another analogy with a pivotal moment in our war history. Caesar against Pompey Magnus. Caesar has a weaker force, smaller numbers. Okay? They have this battle that Crassus was a great general. Pompey was a great general, and he should beat Caesar. What Caesar does, his men are starving, and then he knew if he didn't win over there, it's done. He will not get Italy, it's done. He's gonna die. What he does, the guys are starving, they cannot run away. He ordered them to kill all the horses, feed the people, and go to battle. So what he told with this action is, you cannot run away. We have one option, and the option is win. Okay? That was my only option there. When I lose that, I just had the one option is stop this guy over there, or they're gonna burn my city, rape all the women, destroy all the temples, salt the field, and it's done. And the civilization will be extinct.
No more pizza.
Okay? So, you have to focus and stuff in detail sometimes to avoid the whole disaster that you have sometimes in the side control. that was done. And then I couldn't stop him. And then it was the other part when you were on the close guard, and then we started to do the head stuff, right?
Yeah.
The collar, and then eventually come to the head.
He kept trying. The choke when he was teaching the guys from standing, they moved to the ground. He was trying to do that with me from the ground yesterday. That's how you did that with from the ground. And I said, yeah. And then, you know, yesterday I could stick up because we know a little bit of each other's game. And then I know you don't want anybody hugging behind you. When somebody puts your hand behind the neck, they're up for something bad. There's never something good. So I was trying to grab my own collar. Then he was trying to pass it over. Oh, I did. I grabbed the collar and then stop him to go around and then driving pressure. And then
because, and the other thing he does, and I know you guys get annoyed by it because I get annoyed by it, is he started to try to smash his leg, right? And then he pulled the head. He started to put the weight here, and even he started now pull the head first here. The way he started to pull my head down here, and then he started to pull in this direction and started to go over there. Right? So I was able to resist that a couple of times, and then what did he want to do at the end of the day is collapse his leg still. So if his leg collapses, he's gonna pass. Okay? So you have to understand that, and then it's okay, it was sucked. My head was in a terrible position and stuff. But I need to stop this leg to collapse. So what I do is my head was under, so I make sure I make a grip on his leg here. So I stop my leg to collapse all the time. Okay, he will not pass here because I control his leg and I stop the collapse of this leg here. Okay, so what I start to do is I even start to stretch here and even take the chance for him to go to the reverse arm bar and allow me and release the pressure here and allow me to go back into this position. Because I was always in a weird position. But I cannot just, this is weird, I'm going to drop my leg. If I drop my leg, the fight is over. Okay, you have to keep fighting to resist. One more second. I say I have my AAA strategy that is 1 more second. I said 1 more day. It's just 1 more second, 1 more second, 1 more second, because sometimes you give up.
My legs start to get tired. I have to stop.
And then so these, I wasn't burning much energy. I was just with my arm supporting my leg, and then I having his leg supporting my arm. So now for him to collapse, my left turns almost impossible. You know? And then honestly, if he decide to change side, that's all I was paying for him to try to go to that side because I might have a shot on his back. You know, and then my head was already under his armpit, so if he gets tired and for whatever crazy reason he decides to do that, so I wouldn't start to coming on this direction. You know, so I had him in a position where to go to one side, he was not able to go to the side he wanted, but the other side, he would give up. He probably would give up way too much. But sometimes the other person is tired. It's just they just cannot.
He's saying he's playing mind games, but luckily I didn't fall for that one.
Yeah, I was. And it has to be because if you just fight straight, it's easy. Okay, you have to be able to beat the guy technically, physically, and mentally.
Guys, that's one
and
thing.
It's rare that you can beat him on these 3 fields.
Before he comes, I always tell you guys, Comprido was really one of the, he was absolute world champion and twice, like, yes, the technique, it's a must, physically it's a must, but the mental part, if you don't get that down, it's just as important, just like everything else. So sometimes, we know you walk into a match, you before you even step in there, you already lost in your head. I can't beat that guy, I can't beat that guy. Then most likely you will lose. So this guy, to me, is one of the, in a way, well, it wasn't always an inspiration as far as how his mindset always was. So, can't be the same, but we're trying to look up, the way how he always was methodical fighting, analyzing. I was never, I'll try to, but man, he would go for tournaments. Okay, everything happened. Boom, boom. The day, like the week after, go to the gym. Hey, that happened, and then Rodrigo, what happened to that guy for that move in the purple belt? He knew everything because when he wasn't fighting, he was looking and analyzing and memorizing, studying in your mind. Because sometimes we can't. We do like the mind repetition. It really works. It sounds like a cliche, but it really does. And then he was always really big on that. That's one of the biggest reasons why I think he got what he got. Mental part.
And because he opened up for me on the semi-final of the World. But yeah, I used to know. I remember I had one magazine that I still have that had a picture of every champion, blue to black belt, and I knew the game of all the champions because I used to go to the tournament and keep watching and realizing what they are doing. I don't do this anymore. I'm not able to carry the game to every single black belt champion at this point. Because I'm still competing. I enjoy competing, but I'm not. I have other stuff to do than just compete as was the past, but as wasn't the past. I have an opportunity to beat a lot of people much better than me because I understood that there's many factors, and you don't need to beat the person in all those factors. You just have to drag him into the factor that you can be stronger than him. Sometimes when you're fighting somebody, you give him a look, and this can be it. I remember to be fighting one time Renato Fel, who had beat me before, and I knew he would pull guard, so I was standing when he grabbed my hand to pull guard. I pulled my arm out, and then he jumped with everything, and he fall on his back. That's kind of, you feel kind of dumb when this happens. And then when I did that, I kind of looked to him just like that. And I kind of walk away a little bit, and then I start to fight. At that moment, the guy said, he fought, because that wasn't the case, but he fought and said, this guy has zero respect for me. I'm a fool. I fall like a baby. I should never done that. And then I started to put so many questions on his mind. He has to have strong mind to beat me. And I managed to beat him. The same day, then I went to fight Mario, and I remember in a point on the fight, he was the favorite from far. I remember in a point on the fight that I was leading, it was 0-0, but I was leading, and then he came to me, and he was super big, super strong, and then he came to me and said, "Rah!" And then he just yelled, and then I swear for God, you can watch on the video, I jumped back, like I got scared. And then I realized right away what I had done, so I jumped back, and then I realized, fuck, I cannot backing off now. And then I come back on him right away, because if I allow that edge at that moment of the fight, why he yelled? Because he needed momentum for him. He needed to show, man, I'm Hulk, I can go and smash. If he does that, and I started doing this, he turned into Hulk, he will destroy me. When I get scared for a second, I'm not gonna lie. But then I come back, and then the next altercation, I took the advantage. I wasn't a point or nothing, but I won the next altercation. And then he realized that I cannot hook out on this kid. He kept trying. It was a good fight because this guy kept coming after me all the time. But that was all mental. And then it's time that you technically you position in a way that you get the guy in a bad situation. And I'm sorry that we're spending so much time talking. I just try to get you guys a little bit of the mindset, and then for actions more. Sometimes it's hard to do in the class. You just say, "Oh, never let the guy collapse this leg here," and then you don't understand why, or doesn't register as much. But some of you are here yesterday, and then you saw me training with Esfiha, and it seems a pretty boring fight because I never managed to sweep him. He never managed to pass my guard. But it was a fight happening there.
You guys look very tired.
I was exhausted.
Was a fight happening there because I could not allow some stuff to happen, and he could not allow some stuff to happen because we knew the consequences of letting those things happen. The fact that we know each other so well plays a big part on that.
That thing he said he wanted me to let the head go for attack down. I was never gonna do that because I know if I do that, he always go really good taking the back. I wasn't about to. So you bait into it. Sometimes you fall, sometimes you don't, and then
disarm stuff. And at some point he started to push his lapel against me, and then I let it go and I keep controlling the arm, and then I tried to trick him one more time, and I said, "Hey, you hold your own lapel, you know that, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I know." But he kept holding, because I wanted him to let it go to try to fit the lapel, But I never, he never knew exactly what I was trying to do because I didn't expose my attack because I never had the feeling that I would be able to finish my attack. And then I want to have that, so we rose 7 times, 7 5-minute rolls. So I never managed to get the lapel, but I also never managed to show him what I was trying to do because I was hoping to eventually get the lapel in there and put him in trouble. So he knew something was weird over there, but he could not tell exactly what.
Seems shady.
And that's the thing. You should not show your hands too soon. Wait for the right moment. You have an amazing double leg. Don't go right away. And then start doing that because now this guy gonna change levels as well, and he's gonna start to backing off. So I have a good double leg. I go to the guy kind of tall, and then I start to backing off a little bit, and as I backing off, I start to changing level. So now I changed my level already, and I'm not threatening him. If I go in here, so I say, man, this guy want to double leg me. So you start to backing off a little bit, let the guy running, When he commit, now you shoot, you have a clean double leg. Let him think that you're afraid of him. Was a video, I posted recently a video of my fight with Nino in one of the woods. There was a time that I was running away from him and he was chasing, but he never really commit, so take a while for him to commit. And that's when I did a double leg on him. Because since the beginning, the first step back I give is to drag him and open up for a double leg. So I have to run a lot because he was coming forward, but he was coming forward without commitment. And then at some point they said, this guy, he's just running away from me. I'm gonna grab him. And when he commit, then I score my point. This guy is one of, Esfiha fought him too. He's one of the toughest guys we both fight. But I couldn't get him off of his game because I was playing mind games with him. I was giving him stuff that he did not need and take stuff that I was really looking for. It was like we went so far off. It was kind of clear what I was trying to do with him all the time to kill his pass, his collapsing off one leg and avoiding him to ever get to the second. Was that clear for you guys?
Yeah. Yep. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so if you got we have a couple minutes. If you guys have, we can do we can just answer a couple questions.
Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, we kind of come in.
We're not gonna have time to repeat the technique, but I can show. If I know the answer, I don't know everything.
Anybody have questions about the techniques with Comprido did today? You want to go over any details?
Before we wrap up, we just do high-level overview of the ones that we went over, just to keep it fresh.
We can. So, okay. So, we start standing was a drill, but there was few important things to remember. First of all, if you are close to your opponent, you have to change your level down. Okay? And then when you're close to your opponent, you have to protect your leading leg. So this hand is here or here, somewhere you can protect. It's easier to shoot if you think earlier. Okay? When you walk, the proper way to walk, and this is super important. Still some people not following exactly. Whatever you want to go, the leg close to that direction goes first. So if I go to my right leg goes first. If you go forward, my forward leg goes first. Backward, back leg goes first, to my left leg goes first. If you're not doing that, you start to crossing legs. When you're crossing legs, you lose balance. You're vulnerable. Okay? So that's the thing. If you are shooting, you're shooting from the bottom to the top. It's hard to change levels and shoot right away. That's why you try to position and change levels. Then we went for this part here. Okay? So I need a little bit of time to set up my grip. If possible, from far, I start to open up. You know, every time I approach him, I lower my stance. And then when I grab him, he's going to have the same grips than me. I'm going to put my head on him, and I'm going to drag him down without just going backwards. So my head is on him, I squat a little bit. So if for whatever reason is an opening for a shoot from here is uncomfortable, shooting from here is comfortable. Remember, the 100 meters on the Olympics, right? These guys start in a block in here because that's the positionment of the leg that you can generate more power forward. So when I change my levels, I change my levels in here. If I have to explode, I explode in here. I don't want to start here. I don't start like a marathon. You don't need explosion on the marathon. Those guys start in here. You need explosion for 100 meters, you start here. So, change level, open up his lapel, cross and open my chest at the same time. Swing my hand 201, okay? Head inside, control his hip and walk through outside. I could start to foot sweep, even hip takedowns if he goes too low. If he starts going too low, I would get the single leg. Okay, so I have a couple options over there. Then I was in here, okay? What I started to do, I let him beat me with his head, but I was feeding the lapel, okay, with this control, I was feeding the lapel close to his neck. I was still outside, and then I come here, and I hold this lean part. Once I reach to this lean part, I close my elbow, and I try to get his hand behind. I can start to pull him backward. I generate a lot of torque. I can do a foot sweep. Once they are on the floor, I can keep up with the choke. Then, we realize that this can be done inside of the closed guard. So, I have him on the closed guard, and then I start to make the similar grip in here, like if I'm trapping his elbow to go to the arm bar, and then I start to bring his head down and escaping my hip, and then I start to feeding his lapel in front of his neck. Would be great to do that. Doesn't happen that often. Okay, so even if his elbow is open, I start to feed the lapel here, and I hold his lean part, close my elbow, put my hand, escape my hip, and start to climbing to finish him in here. So, then there was the Bravo choke, right? So then, we realize I can use this lean part way more than what we think we could. So, I try to make sure early on the fight I open up his lapel and I try to identify if they have a short gi or a long gi that play a little bit on my decision to which technique to use. And then I'm gonna sit up, and then when I sit up, I open his lapel under his armpit, and I gain a lot of space here. Okay? I start to pull his lapel in here, but now I'm focusing on this part of his gi. Okay? So I bring in here, and I put my hand, and I make this grip in here. Now I can grab in here, or even on this side, but you have to take in consideration this gap here. Okay? So I make my grip and I put my hand on his head and I keep pulling him to me until you feel that he is not trying to lay down on my chest, but trying to resist a little bit, okay, to push me away. So I will push him and rotate my hand and lock the choke in here. Okay, so push him, lock the choke, and finish him with the cross choke. We also saw that we can do the same kind of stuff on the half guard and attack the sling lapel. Okay? After that was the mermaid, right? So, then, I explain you guys, if I manage to get his knees together and close a triangle, I have a very advantage of opposition, and there's many different ways to do that. I could go from here, I could go from here, even sometimes I come in front of his belt and hold him here, but on the end of the day, I have to sit up, okay, and use this rocket chair movement to bring him up. When his knee is up on the air, I force my leg down and turn a little bit sideways. Close the triangle and put my hook in. Take my time here, make sure I'm closing the leg above his knee line. Take my time in here, and then I try to start to open up his base and create space, push his armpit, and escape. If I really like to go to the back and I'm really good, I escape to his back. If I'm not much better attacking the back, makes sense just to push the floor and sweep and mount. Then we went to the Igor sweep, what was making a cross grip and not really fighting that, not battle that. Position my hand inside and bring him close to create space to control his leg. Okay? I keep pulling him, and every time I pull him close, I pull his leg close and try to slide my hand to the ball of his feet in here. Once I get this, I will pull him, but now I push him a little bit harder, and I can do this until I put him on his butt. Now it's time to stop him to post. Even if you're already posting, I will pull away, and then I can go to the top, rolling over my shoulders, and then post my hand on the floor. Or if you guys feel uncomfortable, as long as his butt is on the floor, put your hand on the floor. Don't go up on your elbow. Stretch your arm. Sweep and mount. And then we went to the... Then how to Mario. How to beat Mario. Smashing after that. What? Easy?
Yeah.
Okay. You ready? Yeah, it's on your hands.
Guys, thank you. That's great. You guys want to take just get some water, fix your gears. We're gonna start to got some family coming already. It was great. I want to thank Comprido. Awesome. So after we finish all the promotions, don't take your gears just yet. We're gonna take a picture right after we finish the last one, and then that's it. Awesome. Thanks everybody for coming. Really good. So let's line up on that side. If you guys want to drink some water real quick and come back, do it, go for it, and then start to line up. Se você passar aqui na frente da academia e não tiver vaga, você sabe como é que para atrás da academia a gente para lá no